Did I overhear that correct?
Yes, it has.
Lavender?
Lavender eyes and its hair's on fleek, apparently.
Good evening and welcome to the first episode of our Eldessa 1 to 20. Welcome along. First of all, I'd like to introduce our players. Today we have Kira playing Lucius. We have Josh playing Maverick. We have Jamal playing Leovold.
Hey guys.
We have Matt playing Rook.
Hello everyone.
We have Laura playing Kenna.
Hello.
And we have Cal playing Alari.
Yo.
Marvelous. So our story begins with you in Drathnor Keep. What is Drathnor Keep, you may ask? Drathnor Keep is in the northwest of Halgania, which is part of the Eldessa continent. It's one of the few places that is at peace in the constantly warring continent of Eldessa. In Drathnor Keep, we have the Lord and Lady, who are Bantus and Felia, and they are long-term friends of King Naris, King Vanian, and have been sort of ruling at Drathnor Keep for a long, long time. Here we find our noble friends in the Hall of Games, and as you're sitting down at the table, each of you is playing high card draw, so if you would like to draw me a card to begin with, please, and just hold that card in your hand. You sit around at the table. There is plenty of noise going on. There's a bard playing in the background. And there's sort of various noble people wandering around within the hall, making far too much noise and kerfuffle. The card dealer himself is a young human who you would know quite well. His name is Perseus, and he's very renowned for his excellent card dealing skills. And as he passes each of you your card, if you would like to reveal your card for me, please, starting with Lucius.
I pulled the 2 of clubs.
2 of clubs, okay. Maverick.
I got the ace of diamond.
It's you. Leovold.
Queen of clubs.
Rook.
Diamonds.
Sorry, what was the card?
9 of diamonds.
9 of diamonds. Kenna.
And of hearts.
And Alari.
I also got the Queen of clubs.
Okay, the dealer has drawn an 8 of diamonds. Leovold, was it you that drew the ace?
That would be Maverick, I believe.
Oh, sorry, Maverick, if you would like to add a lovely 10 gold pieces to your kitty. As the dealer begins to deal out a second hand, a young monk walks over to you. He sits himself down at the table unassumedly, and he sort of looks round and nods at you all. Introduces himself. He says, well, good eve. You are a very strange group of people. A little unusual for the standard court nobility, if you wouldn't mind me saying. I thought I'd come and say hello and introduce myself. My name is Selenar. I have come from the Yaldor Monastery. And I'm deeply interested in how a group such as yourself came to be part of the nobility here at Drathnor Keep. And he nods towards Rook. He says, for yourself, how did you come to be in these parts? Matt, if you would like to introduce your character, please.
I am playing Rook, who is an orc barbarian. Do you want me to go more than that, or?
Yeah, how did you come to be here? How did you come to be part of the nobility as an orc?
I am from the country of Karat, where I was born, and I was taken away with my mother as a baby, not wanting to grow up the harsh orc lifestyle, and that is when I came to Drathnor Keep, where I was raised and where I've lived ever since.
Wondrous. Most interesting. Do you find yourself shunned as an orc here in the keep?
I get by on my own. I make friends. Anyone who wants to be my friend, I will give them the jester right back.
Two female nobles at the table next to you are snickering as you say that, and the monk sort of looks over to them and sort of rolls his eyes at their bad manners and looks over to Maverick and says, "What of you? Josh, if you'd like to introduce your character, please."
Sure. Maverick is a Shadowkai from the Shadowfell. He's basically like on a mission from the Raven Queen, but he doesn't really know what he's meant to be doing. He's just kind of waiting for something to happen. He's very like straightforward, to the point, and doesn't really mince his words much.
Oh, well, pleasure to meet you. What about you? You're a strange one to be hanging with the group. And he looks at Leovold and says, if I may say so, it seems you may fit better with the standard nobles of the keep. What's your story? Jamal, if you'd like to introduce your character, please.
Okay, so my character is Leovold Weston. He is a unstable wild magic sorcerer. And as for how I came to be a part of the keep, I came to the keep a few years ago. After my mother passed, and I've been here since. And as for why I'm not sitting among the rest of the nobility, well, let's just say it isn't me that doesn't sit with them, but them that avoid me.
Perhaps your control of your magic has caused you more problems than one might imagine.
Many.
And
A great many.
And what of you, fancy pants over there? And he looks at Lucius. What brings you here? What separates you from the average nobility and leaves you sitting with this eclectic group?
Well, hello. Well met. It's no mystery that my father adopted me. But if you're going to go by my name, my full name is Lucius Claudius Festorius, and I am the master of my household.
Oh my.
Lucius is an adopted elf. Currently, his father passed, and he has taken over his father's house to be the master. And he's a nobleman's nobleman. He's a socialite. He can play the dozens. He can play politics. However, when it comes down to it, he's also dangerous.
And for what reason do you choose to partake in this eclectic group as opposed to sitting with your more standard nobleman over there?
They're good people.
Oh, that's good to know. And what about you, young lass? And he looks over to Kennel. Can you tell us a little bit about you?
Can I just kind of raise my eyebrows and kind of look at him? What about me? She is a fire genasi. She has lived in the keep her entire life. She got there because her parents basically just threw money where needed so that they could be part of the nobilities.
Oh, most interesting. And what's your story, love? He seems to be a little persuasive, trying to encourage you to be a little bit more informative.
My story is that I'm looking to get out of this keep pretty soon.
Oh my.
I don't suppose you have a job.
No, well, I have a job of my own. To be a little vague, I'm seeking enlightenment. To be a little more specific, I'm seeking humanity. As I have traveled the continent of Eldessa from north to south, from west to east, I have discovered many who harbor war in their hearts, some who harbor desires a little strange and unusual, some who harbor desire for only peace. However, I have discovered very few who seem to harbor nobility within their hearts. And for me, that is what I seek, because I think the path to enlightenment involves true nobility and the ability to be selfless in one's actions. And this is something I have not found in all my travels. But ones who are known for peace. You, what's your story? And he gestures towards Alari.
Alari puts his drink down that he's been sipping this entire time. Oh, me? Just another Genasi from Okana. Mostly here just to make things a little bit smoother for the house back home. You know, find a nice drink every once in a while. I consider myself to be another seeker of humanity, but it's gonna admit a little bit in short supply here among the notables. Not really the place for that, but you know, it pops up every once in a while.
And he gestures towards both Kenna and Talari, and he says, and I've heard the Genasi can be mighty in combat. Is this true?
Not my thing.
I've been known to hit some targets.
An archer?
Yes,
Uh-huh.
should the need arise.
Most interesting. I thought the Genasi tended towards the more magical arts, but that is fascinating. That is fascinating indeed. At this point, if you'd like to flip your cards, the dealer places his on the table first, an 8 of clubs. Lucius.
I have pulled the 9 of clubs.
Maverick.
10 of spades.
Leovold.
The Jack of Spades.
Oh my. Rook.
Clubs.
Very good. Kenna.
The ace of spades.
Oh my. And Alari.
5 of diamonds.
Okay. At this point, the dealer sort of sighs, and another 10 gold is passed over to Kenna this time.
I've lost yet again.
Yes. Unfortunately, there doesn't seem to be a buy-in in this particular game, so it's a sort of a free-for-all of victory, really. At this point, there's a little bit of a ruckus coming from the table behind you. The dealer apologizes and takes a moment and walks away to the sort of main counter where you would buy in your chips. And you hear 2 girls sort of shrieking and cackling with laughter. And telling what seem to be very crude jokes. You would know these girls as Elizabeth and Clementine. They are your very typical Keep snobs. They are the gossip girls, the problem children, if you like. And they're currently cackling over what is apparently, from what you can gather, a problem that has been found across the keep. The young noble lady Celine has a problem with some rats in her cellar, and it has become common knowledge. At this point, the lights are beginning to die down. The games are beginning to finish. It is fair to say that you would probably be ascending to your bedchambers relatively shortly. So we will briefly fast forward now that we'd have a chance to meet all your characters, and we will resume in the morning, where you would all come down and sort of meet up with each other for a regular day. None of you have any work to do today. None of you have any particular roles you need to fulfill, and therefore I've been ejected from my own channel. That's very, very nice, isn't it? Thank you, whoever's done that. If you'd kindly put me back. Sorry, we resume in the morning, where none of you have any work to do today, and you would be able to relax and sort of have a day to yourselves. As you've heard from the night before, Celine is having some problems with the rats in her cellar. Leovold.
1 second, if I can ask, what the hell happened? How did you get ejected?
I have no idea. No idea. I think either somebody moved me somewhere somehow, or I don't know. I don't know what happened, but we'll forget about it.
Okay. Well, yeah, your camera's off in Discord, so you might want to turn that back on so we can see the
Oh, sorry, you've got no board.
wonderful board and things. Yeah.
Go. Okay, fantastic. So, having finished your evening with our lovely monk, you find yourselves sort of relaxing in the day. A normal day to pass. As I said, you've heard of Celine's rat problems. You would also perhaps have, Leovold more specifically has heard that one of the ladies of the Dancing Dryad has been asking for some assistance. The Dancing Dryad would be your local brothel of sorts. But Most of the ladies of the Dancing Dryad can be found during the day at the Dancing Dryad in their place of rest and peace as opposed to in their active duties. We will say that you are in, say, the breakfast hall. And Veervold, it is only you that has heard of this. You heard of it on your way downstairs. So you're now sat down to breakfast with your party.
Why is it that somebody from the Dancing Dryad would be looking for someone to lend a hand?
What are you talking about, Leovold? Who needs a hand?
I overheard something on the way in. It just piqued my curiosity a little. That's all. I'm not sure quite what to make of it, but something about the people from the Dancing Dryad needing help with something. I can't imagine what, but why would this be news around here?
Not too sure. Well, you know how nobles are. They make a big thing out of everything.
Yeah, I guess you're right. It's one of the things that does mystify me, I guess, but...
At this point, Sarah the cook's, one of the Sarah the cook's keep girls is laying out in front of you eggs, bacon, sausages, various different breakfast items, pastries, fruits, etc. at the table. She sort of shyly looks over towards Maverick and gives him a bit of a wink. Each time he comes, this is one of her favorites. He's definitely one of her favorites. And she continues to serve and then wanders off quietly.
Well, what was that, Maverick? Seems as you have a bit of a admirer.
Absolutely no idea. She hasn't said anything to me. I don't see her as anything other than a maid.
Do you want me to find out for you? Could be interesting.
It could be, but no thank you. I can't bother myself with such things.
Oh, well, the offer still stands. How was everyone else's night?
Terrible.
No, it's the same as always. Nice long sleep. Ready for another hard day out in the town.
Deeply hungover as usual, but I think I'll make it.
At this point, as Rook is vigorously tucking into his dinner, or his breakfast, he's a bit overexcited. Kenna, you take 2 points of piercing damage from him wielding his fork in a slightly over-exuberant manner.
Could you watch where you're waving that?
I'm sorry. It won't happen again, I promise.
See, this is why people make fun of you here. You really need to settle down.
I know, I need to get my manners in check. I'm doing my best.
A young boy...
Yeah,
sorry,
take it easy.
Karen. A young boy approaches the table and he sort of puts his hand on Brother Alari's arm and says, was I right in thinking you guys were available for some favors, perhaps, or some assistance? I heard it said that you were had a little too much time on your hands and may be able to help out with something.
Yep, that's us, the regular band of misfits, easily mistaken as the help.
Well,
I would say that would depend entirely on what it is you,
I beg your pardon, I am not a misfit.
Well, I don't want to stir any trouble here, but it's just Kenvar had a couple of things he was hoping maybe some mischievous people might be willing to help out with. And I thought you might also like to know that the Mikhail at the Regal Squire Inn is asking for assistance today, if anybody is willing to help.
At your service.
What would this help entail?
A couple of things, I think. He has a delivery he wishes somebody to help him collect, which is nice and simple, and then he had something he was a little bit more secretive about.
A delivery? Is this some heavy lifting thing?
Oh, I don't know. I think it's something simple, but realistically, I think he wanted to talk to you about something more secretive. I wasn't given the information.
Okay, fair enough. This has piqued my interest a little.
Seems the entire town is in an uproar today.
Everyone needs a little bit of something. Who knows what that something is?
Not much else to do in a keep like this. Might as well pick something fun.
I mean, could go hunting or drinking or something. Do we really need to help people? I mean,
Again?
yeah. Okay, I'll help someone.
Would you rather just sit here not doing anything today?
That sounds like a good day most days, but okay, I'll be productive today. Okay.
I'm glad you come around.
Yeah, the boy wanders off, so just to clarify some names there, because I went through that quite quickly. That is, Mikhail is asking for help at the Regal Squire Inn, and Kenvar, who is a noble of the keep who would be found sort of in the dining hall. He's a little bit, thinks a lot of himself, is very well-to-do, is asking for some assistance. But as yet, we don't know what with. And Celine has a problem with some rats in her cellar. If you were looking for Celine, you would probably find her in her room, which is, you would know, is upstairs on the 3rd floor. And yes, I mean, you would know where her room is and be able to access it.
Just so I'm clear that I got everyone, it's Celine, the Dancing Dryad, Mikhail, and Kenvar that all need help with something.
Celine, the Dancing Dryad, Mikhail, and Kenvar. Yes, those are the 4 people who could use some help or assistance. I think it's fair to say that as a group of, perhaps not misfits, but perhaps not all of you are particularly welcome within the nobles. When people have a slightly strange or unusual bit of work, they would often come to you guys first to see if any of you would help out.
We have to earn our keep.
Yeah, somewhat. I mean, you'll live off your parents' money, but it's, you know, it's more the fun, I think.
So, what is everyone feeling? Where would you like to go? Would you like to kill some rats?
As much as I'm interested in finding out that the rats in Celine's cellar is not a weird metaphor that's going around, I don't know how much I like that person.
Oh.
What did she do to you?
She's just, in general, kind of a nasty person. I don't know if you've noticed.
Who's Celine?
Wait, is Celine one of the 2 pretty, like...
No, Celine is an older, elderly, elder noble. You are very correct in that she is quite rude and quite direct, and but not specifically towards you guys, but more towards anybody younger. Is very condescending, quite patronizing. Very well-to-do though, and with a lot of money.
That's just old people things, though. I think a lot of the more elderly sort are just, you know,
Indeed,
stubborn
she's a
and
cantankerous woman.
Cantankerous, stubborn, hard-headed, abrupt, brash.
Rich.
That too. Very good point. I could think of worse. I could think of worse company. I could think of better company.
Earlier you mentioned the Dancing Dryad, Leopold. Is that piquing your fancy?
They're an odd and interesting sort, I guess. I don't really want that much to do with them, but if people need help, then I guess I could.
So,
I'm very open to any thoughts on what anyone would prefer to do, though. So,
as am I. Yeah, whatever everyone wants to go to, I'll do as well. I'll kill some rats, even though I would hate to have my coat redetailed.
well,
Let's go to Celine.
okay, but I would say
Did you not hear me?
Yeah, and you can get your cloak redone.
Fine.
Well,
I'm sure you have many others in many different
what's it to
ways.
say we're going to be killing any rats this time? Like, if they have a rat problem, then wouldn't we just be looking to lay traps or something? Like, does that seem...
We won't know until we get there.
Yeah, but it's not like we're going to catch rats with our bare hands, is it? Like,
We can
Depends how
deal with
big
a couple rats.
The young girl returns to clear your plates and dishes as you've finished, and pops a small pouch into Maverick's lap and winks again. at this point, if you'd all like to add 17 gold pieces to your inventory. It's fair to say Maverick has decided to share the gold out. You would know this girl's name as Rosaline.
As she's walking away, can I'd like to look her over.
She's a small waif of a girl, perhaps 16 or 17 years old, just over 5 foot tall, very shy, dark brown hair, very deep brown eyes. Is dressed quite poorly, as most of the servants would be, but she's, bashfully pretty, I think it's fair to say.
I'd like to call her back over.
Yes, sir, what can I do for you?
I don't know what you did that for, child. However, you can have this, and I'll give her back 10 gold.
Why, thank you, sir. It wasn't from me.
That doesn't matter now, does it?
Oh, no, most definitely not. Why, thank you, sir.
Please, enjoy.
Maverick, as you open the bag to share the gold out, there's a small piece of paper in the bottom, and it just says Alamore. Alamore is a nobleman of quite fine reputation, but eclectic tastes. And there is an X after his name, a small kiss donated. Clearly the money has not come from the serving girl herself, despite her admiration for you, but has instead come from Alamore, the noble. However, she's very pleased to have received 10 gold in return. Thank you very much.
Admirably generous.
So, rats?
Is the president from the Secret Admirer?
If you were to be headed to Celine, it would be quite easy to just ascend the stairs. Hers would be the third door on the right-hand side on the 3rd floor.
Let's go then.
To Celine.
Okay. As you wander down the corridors, you hear the rattling of noble laughter, and suddenly a dead silence. Each of you would be expected to stand very still and quiet at the sides of the corridor as the court wizard Maldranic is headed down in his sweeping silver robes, and he sort of is looking left and right as he walks. He's a very grand man. Very old, long grey beard. He's been the court mage as long as anybody in the keep can remember, and maybe far older than you may have first assumed. And he sort of nods very briefly to you all, and very sort of passes by. He's the sort of person who would only notice the nobles of the keep, and those who are serving or lesser common people, he would not notice whatsoever. He leaves you, and you are able to ascend the staircase. I think we'll fast forward through said staircase, and you arrive at the door of Celine.
So I knock on the door.
Okay. She opens the door and she says, "Oh, why, hello there.
Hello.
What can I do for you?"
We've heard you've had a rat infestation.
Infestation? Goodness gracious, no. Not an infestation. I let it be known that I had a problem. The problem isn't the rats themselves. My rats are wonderful. They are my prize fighting rats. But unfortunately, one of them has been stolen. It's Humphrey. Humphrey was the most victorious of rats. A true master of his craft. As fine as a rat could be. And he's been stolen.
Do you have any... Is there any reason someone would steal your rat?
Well, of course, Humphrey's an excellent prize rat fighter. Anyone would want him. But as to how somebody took him, I've no idea. The only person to have been in my chambers in the last week is Eldrin. Eldrin comes for his studies once a week. I tutor him in some of the lesser magical arts, but why he'd take the rat, I've no idea.
Is he also a fan of rat fighting?
Why, no, I don't even think Eldrin knew I owned the rats. I've never shown them to him. It's not your regular sport for an elder lady like myself. Sorry, Lucius, you were saying?
No, I'm just going to turn around and look at the rest, everyone else, and just mouth, rat fighting?
Okay, so what?
I certainly was not expecting this.
Well, I'm glad.
It's a bit cruel, yeah?
maybe, yeah. Maybe a little, yeah.
I'm gonna look up at her and
the thing
say,
just ran away.
But
can we see where they were taken from?
Why, of course you can, darling. Come with me, come with me. She leads you to the back of her room and she opens what is sort of a very small metal door. It's sort of 3 or 4 foot in height. And inside you see what is a luxuriously delicate, sort of almost palatial room with large thrown furs and, golden sashes. And there is an assortment of interesting little cakes and sweets. And there are 5 rather bedraggled-looking rats who, have clearly not seen the outside in months, sitting round, sort of nibbling on these cakes and pastries. And as you open the door, they sort of scurry to the back of the room.
okay, so this rat you said was missing. Are you sure they were taken, or?
Well, Humphrey's not going to run away, is he? If you look how they're treated. I care for them like my own children.
Is there a window or any other entrance to the room?
To the room? No, it's a completely sealed off room, and even as she opened the door is set sort of 2 foot up from the ground. A rat would have to make a rather large leap to get out.
What about hidden behind some of this furniture? What if there's like a...
There's no specific furniture, it's more sort of just rugs and stuff and throws.
Right,
Sorry, Lucius,
okay.
you were saying?
Is Humphrey's cage in the room?
Cage? Who on earth would keep a rat in a cage? That's awful.
Okay.
Darling, if I'm carrying them to a fight, I take them in my pocket.
Okay.
So it's just...
everyone to just go ahead and wash their feet then?
It's just a small sort of 2 foot by 2 foot sort of space with all these sort of throws and delicacies scattered about. You can see quite easily that there are 5 rats present and that nowhere for a rat to hide. It's quite well lit.
Is there any sort of sign that somebody ran around in a circle chasing a rat around this room?
No, everything appears relatively undisturbed. Lucius, you were saying?
I'm just going to take a scrutinizing look around.
Mm-hmm. This is within the rat room or within the general room?
I would like to capture both the rat room and the general room a little bit.
Okay, make a perception check for me, please.
It's a 12.
The rat room is fairly as described. All you see is these sort of lovely furs and a few golden sort of ribbons and sashes around, and the rats eating their cake. As you look around the room, it's clear that this is a slightly eccentric lady. You see various sort of feather boas and capes and different dresses strewn across the bed. Across the table are the beginnings and ends of all sorts of different projects. The floor itself is an amalgamation of various different things that are going on. She appears a little haphazard. There is sort of a wonderful sort of quiver of arrows in a boot. A glass slipper is currently sort of placed diagonally across what looks to be the beginning of a plant area that is not growing very well. She has a small lapdog in the corner who is sleeping on top of what looks like a priceless dress. A very fine piece of art lies against the wall, and leaning up against it is a shovel and a spade. And what appears to be a home tattooing set is laid out across the table right now.
And you're saying that having pet fighting rats wasn't eccentric enough? Wow. Okay.
Could it be possible that the dog ate Humphrey?
The dog ate Humphrey?
It's a possibility.
What an awful and atrocious thing to say. No. Bumble here only eats the finest of fish and meat, sourced directly from the butchers.
So he does eat meat?
He does eat meat, but only directly from a plate that I am holding. And I assure you Humphrey has never been on a plate.
How sure can you be? Have you left these animals alone together?
Have you never seen me around the keep? Have you ever seen me not with Nosy in my bag?
I don't particularly notice you now.
Notices she then refers again to the dog and she says, Kepit here is, a perfectly behaved dog. Yes, you are right, Lucius. You may ask the question.
I'm going to look at everybody else, just to kind of pull them in. Didn't you say a second ago the dog's name was Bumble?
Yeah. Good catch.
I believe 3 names have been given so far.
Very good catch.
Indeed.
Should we ask how many dogs she actually has? Just... Is she senile or is she hiding something?
I'm gonna take one last look around this room and then just nod at the senile thing.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a very good
Celine,
assumption.
I'm gonna just
Yes,
back apart.
yes, Colonel.
Was Humphrey the champion of the rat fighting?
He was. Most excellent
Was there
and
a
prized fighter.
second?
Yes, that would be Randolph over here. And she sort of gestures with her hand as she places it on the bottom of the rat room, and she says, "Randolph, Randolph!" And one specific rat walks across the floor and walks onto her hand. She raises and she says, "This here is Randolph. As you can see, he's very well trained, very wonderful fighter, but not quite the courage that Humphrey had."
So, the one that would benefit most from taking out Humphrey would be Randolph. And I give the rat a suspicious look.
Darling, these rats don't fight each other. They fight other rats. These are all from the same litter. They're brothers and sisters. Never a fight has been seen in here.
I hear siblings fight all the time, but I'm an only child.
Just because you've not witnessed them fighting doesn't mean that they don't.
My suspicious, aren't you? I'm telling you, Humphrey has been stolen.
How do you know?
Because I do not misplace my animals. I love them very dearly. And besides, I'm not a lady without a few talents. For example, how many dogs do you see?
One.
One, you say? She sort of waves her hand gently across the area where the dog was sat on this priceless dress, and the dress is maneuvered, and it is revealed that there are 3 dogs sleeping quite peacefully next to each other in a large dog basket. And then she waves her hand across the rest of the room, and the hodgepodge of various different things disappear, and you realize that what you were looking at was actually just illusion, and her room is quite delicate and quite well kept. She's clearly a little fastidious, in fact. She says, "A lady like myself has a facade to maintain, if you will," and she waves her hand again, and the absolute chaos resumes in the room. "But I have not misplaced a rat. It has been stolen, I do tell you."
After witnessing this, I'm actually rather more inclined to believe this now. You do remember what I said just a moment ago, right? I asked how many dogs. There are now 3 dogs.
There are now 3 dogs. You're correct.
Yes.
Well, I believe that would mean it would be very hard for someone to come in here and steal it.
Like I said, my only lead is Eldrin. He's the only person who comes in, and I've been teaching him some of the minor illusion tricks, which means he is very well equipped to be somebody who stole a rat. But unfortunately, I have conducted my own investigation where he is concerned and have not been able to find anything. That is why I've called for help. Sorry.
I've had a small thought.
Leopold, yes? Small thought? Go on.
Jumping to a conclusion of a rat being stolen seems a little extreme. What if instead... You said you've been teaching Eldrin, was it?
Yes,
You've been
Eldrin.
teaching Eldrin some illusory magics, yes?
Yes, he's quite the adept.
Now, here's a wild thought for you. Just a wild thought, but bear with me for a second. What if Eldrin's playing a trick on you, and this rat is currently hidden by an illusion? And the rat is...
darling, I know an inept mage like yourself wouldn't have a first clue about this, but I can detect if there's magic in my own room. Simple. It's a spell just like this. And she sort of, her hands are waved and blue light comes out, and she sort of points to a couple of items on your person that are now glowing. Says, you see, revealing magic is a relatively easy trick for those of us who can actually control what they do.
Low blow, but
Lady Celine,
Yes, darling.
very specific point, yes.
all that aside, I have 2 questions for you.
Of course, what can I do for you?
One, where might I find Eldrin now?
Eldrin, well, he should be at his own rooms, which you will find on the 2nd floor, 4th door down. However, he's been playing with some of the other nobles up at the abandoned house at the other side of town. I don't know their names. I don't pay much attention to those children, but he's been playing down at the abandoned house, and I have seen him there a couple of times when I have used my familiar to follow him. Unfortunately, I can't seem to get inside.
Can't get inside.
What is your... Sorry.
Go on, Maverick.
What is your relationship like with Eldrin?
He is merely a student. His mother pays me rather exceptionally to teach him to hide himself. You see, Eldrin, as you may know and have seen before, has a rather unfortunate face, and therefore, sometimes needs to have a little air of charm around him and perhaps conceal some of his more all of his features are rather unfortunate, but he can at least conceal some of them with his illusory magic.
Very complimentary of your student.
I did tell you he was quite the adept in magic. Doesn't make him more pleasant to look at, darling.
Well, you seem a bit annoyed that he's hanging around with other people. You're following him. How do we not know that this is all just a ruse for you to...
Darling, I'm following him because he's stolen my bloody rat!
You don't know that.
Well, nobody else comes in my chambers, I would know!
My last question, Lady Celine.
Of course, Lucius.
I'm not adept on the rat fighting circuit. Who is your biggest competition?
Why, that would be Roselda. You would know immediately that Roselda is the mother of Kenvar, who we earlier spoke to. She has quite the batch of rats. She lives only across from me, but believe me, her security is not very tight, and I've had quite the investigation of her rooms. And I've inspected all her rats, and Humphrey is not present.
You broke into her room?
Why, of course. Humphrey is a very important subject. I must find him.
Okay. I'm going to turn around. She called her rat a subject, but they were her prized rats? Interesting.
I think she more meant the loss of Humphrey is a very, very important subject to her. It's a very important, thing to her. That's my phrasing.
If you deem it okay to go into other people's rooms and look through their things, why is it not okay for people to do the same to you?
Why, people often may try to come by my rooms, but as I said, it's not my fault her security is lax. Hey, if you would like a rather fun evening spent with a purple face, by all means try and break into my rooms during the evening. I quite look forward to seeing the results.
That will not be necessary. So I'm gonna just talk to the party again. Do you want to check out this abandoned house, perhaps? I think we might have seen all we can see here.
Seems to be the only lead.
Yeah. They could have sacrificed the rat.
Possible.
Let's hope we're not dealing with anything of that sort, though.
Why are you scared?
No, I'd just rather not deal with such a mess.
So, Lady Celine, thank you for your time.
Why, of course, Lucius. If you do retrieve Humphrey, it goes without saying the reward will be quite exorbitant.
Thank you, ma'am. I'll just give a nice low bow.
Always a good-mannered boy. And then she sort of looks at a couple of the other of you and sort of rolls her eyes at your lack of also bowing and says, well, best of luck to you.
Joy as always, Celine.
As you head out the room, she is the other side of the room, but the door closes almost immediately after you, despite none of you closing it.
The door across the hall where she said that her competitor lived.
Yep.
Is the door closed?
It is.
Any windows, any cracks or anything to peek in?
No, but just your very standard keep wooden door.
Okay. I don't need to investigate.
Cool.
I think it might still be a good idea for us to track down this Eladrin kid if he's still within Drathnor Keep.
Just Eldrin. Eldrin, you would know where his room is, but she has reminded you on the second floor, 4 doors down. And the abandoned house she speaks of is very well known in town. It's at the corner of the keep outside.
I would like to turn back around and knock on the door once more.
The door opens and she looks at you from across the room. Yes, darling?
I'm sorry to bother you again, Lady Celine. Are there any markings or scars or bruises on Humphrey that we can actually recognize him?
Goodness gracious, no. He is the finest example of rat you may ever see. You will know him by his beautiful plush hair and his slightly unusually coloured eyes.
Okay.
The deepest of lavender.
Thank you very much. I will bow yet again and slowly close the door.
Just... Okay.
Did I overhear that correct?
Yes, it has.
Lavender?
Lavender eyes and its hair's on fleek, apparently.
I think you've just created our highlight for YouTube. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Wow.
Beautiful. Okay, so as you leave the room, you look over at the lady whose name I'm really going to just be blunt. I've forgotten her name. Her competitor. My mind's gone. The door is closed and you are relatively close to the staircase.
Do you mean,
Griselda.
Griselda, that's the one. Yes, I did have it written down somewhere. Thank you.
A rat with lavender eyes.
Yes.
Things are more not what they seem, I feel.
I mean, we just learned today that there's a inner rat fighting ring.
My old ladies.
It may sound weird, but I've heard stranger things than rat fighting. I mean, we've heard of dog fighting, cock fighting. Rat fighting's a first, but that's not the most wild thing I think we've ever heard coming from this place.
Well, as a mage, I assume you've probably seen some rather interesting things.
Well, if it isn't Celine herself, then who knows?
What was we thinking? Are we going to the abandoned house, or do we want to go to Eldrin's?
Just to let you know that the abandoned house would take you through the town. You would all know this. As you would head through the town, you would pass by both of the previously aforementioned sort of establishments, both the Dancing Dryad and the Regal Squire Inn.
Fantastic. I guess if you wanted, we could either do it on the way there or on the way back, talking and checking in with those.
We're here now, we might as well go check in on Eldrin's room, just one floor down.
Sounds to me.
That does sound like a most efficient course of action. Yeah, that sounds sensible.
Okay. As you descend the stairs and walk along the corridor 4 doors down, you would actually have passed maybe 1 or 2 of your own rooms. Your own rooms would be on this floor. This is for the younger nobles. And you come to his door.
I knock on the door.
Knocks on the door.
There's no response.
Yeah, tries to open it to see if it's locked.
Rook, would you make a dexterity saving throw for me, please? Sorry, I missed that.
Oh, that's
10.
10. It's fair to say you avoided taking any damage as you retreat from the handle very quickly as a burning sensation comes to you. However, as you look down, your hands appear to be the brightest of oranges.
Oh, it's hot.
That's not good.
This might be one of the security measures
Might
that
be more to this Eldrin than Celine let on.
She did say he was an adept mage.
Yeah.
Eldrin is in his
yeah.
early 20s and has perhaps been studying with her since teenage years. This may be something you were vaguely aware of within the keep, but not, the extent of his studies.
It seems he's progressed on his ability rather quickly, all things considered. That's rather impressive. Somehow I don't think we're getting in here. I certainly don't have any way of bypassing this sort of security. The only person I know that could figure out how to do that is, well, Celine.
I guess we're not going to get anything here. Knowing what I know of Eldrin, he lives by himself, yes?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So it's safe to assume that he might not be here with the security measures on.
And I'm pretty sure if he sees you with that hand, he'll know exactly what you've been up to as well. So, I think it might be a good idea to keep that thing in your pocket, especially if Eldrin's around. Lest he get a little...
Is it like glowing red, or does it go away after a second?
No, it's just they are in fact just changed color to bright orange. They look almost like you're wearing gloves made of skin.
Pockets of gloves might be a good shout. Otherwise, Eldrin will not be very happy. Confrontation might be something to avoid.
This is really suspicious, though.
As you are standing outside discussing, no who but would arrive but Eldrin, racing down the corridor.
I quickly
And he goes,
hide my hand.
You can see that he's been crying, and he turns to you and he goes, one of you tried the handle on my door, did you? Not a problem. Just which one of you was it?
I show my hand.
I do apologize.
With my head down in shame.
I do apologize, and he sort of looks down and sort of studies and concentrates for a moment, and then he runs his hand along, like over your hand, but not touching it, and the color slowly dissipates. He says, why were you looking for me? Come in, and he sort of, the door opens.
Eldrin, are you okay?
I've made such a mistake. We were just experimenting, and we've done the most awful of things, and we've created the most awful of things, and yes, Kenna?
What did you do to the rat?
Well, what we did to the rat is not that bad. It's what the rat is now attempting to do to everybody else that's the problem. Come with me. Maybe I'll just, it's easier to show you.
Calm down.
Let me take you there.
Let's take this one step at a time.
You've spoken to Celine, then?
Yes.
Well, we took Humphrey because he is the most fine of fighting rats, as everybody must know. But he was only meant to be gone for an hour. We had a spell to duplicate him. Unfortunately, it didn't go according to plan, and now there is a very large, very proficient fighting rat that is bright lavender in the abandoned house in the keep, and it has now attacked 2 beggars, and we don't know what to do. And
I'm going to turn around. I told you all.
You predicted the...
Eldrin, you calm down. You've just removed a spell off of his hand. Can you reverse this spell?
We've tried, and it's not just me. I think that's the problem. We were both trying to cast the spell, and one of us must have got the words wrong, and I'm not sure which one of us it was, but it's safe to say that whilst I am still kind of okay, Rydian is not. Let's just say that as the rat grew larger, Rydian grew a little smaller.
What?
Oh.
Yes.
Is he rat size now?
No, but I would say that if the rat is now 10 times its original size, Rydian is now 10 times smaller.
Honey, you shrunk Rydian?
Yes. I didn't shrink Ridian. One of us shrunk Ridian. He agreed with me. It was such a brilliant plan. And I know that clone is such a difficult spell, but we had the scroll for it, and we thought we were executing it properly. And with our combined magical powers, him being an evocationist and me being an illusionist, we thought that we would succeed. But all we really seem to have done is make a big purple rat and shrink Ridian. And Humphrey is very angry.
Do we know anyone that would be able to reverse this sort of magic? Is there anyone talented?
Well,
Celine do it?
I considered going to Maldranik, but you know how his temper is, and bothering him for a purple rat. I thought perhaps
rat that's killing people.
No, it's not killed. Yes, maybe.
Beggars?
Maybe they're alive right now. Yes.
Right now.
I think right now they're more at risk of getting sepsis than they are at risk of dying, but yes, it is fair to say that both of them have been bitten. But as you know, many beggars have been disappearing recently from the town, and the rumours are afoot, and we just thought, well, never mind, eh? It's not like they truly matter.
I'm going to,
Wow.
You're going to see... I'm going to turn away from everyone and look at Eldrin very sternly. You better hope we can fix this rat problem. And after we are done, I'm going to make sure both your hands are removed so you can never cast magic again.
Well, I was going to ask you for help, and now I'm considering... What exactly would you do if, I decided to turn my powers against you?
Just take us to the rat. Celine will handle you.
How are we going to deal with this rat? I'm pretty sure Celine would be very upset if this rat came to any more harm than it already has.
The giant rat is out.
Go on, Kenna.
Celine had food for this rat, right?
Yes.
They seem to like it. Let's ask her for some food.
Bad idea.
Eldrin
Surely
sort of
the rat-
sighs. Please don't turn me into Celine. I can show you the cake she feeds him if you wish, but unfortunately, he doesn't seem interested in cake anymore.
What did he want?
Well,
Why are we wasting time? We need to go and deal with this rat before it attacks any more people.
Precisely,
Let's go.
Maverick. We need to go.
Yeah.
what do you propose we do? People
Stop
suggest
the rat at any cost.
Celine will be very, very angry if people kill this rat. And
Sorry.
Eldrin turns to you and says,
Celine with us.
I think Celine would rather the rat was dead than we return to her a large, purple, violent rat. Perhaps if
Eldon,
we
I don't know
could...
if you've gotten the vibe, but you don't really have a say in this.
Oh, is that so?
Perhaps we could knock the rat out, make it unconscious, and then have either Maldranik or Celine, their combined powers may be able to reduce the rat down to size.
Perhaps you're right.
I like this idea. I don't know whether it's going to be able to work, but it's well worth a shot rather than, upsetting Celine any further, because that's not going to go well.
Not at all.
Alari, a small owl descends upon your shoulder. It is not something you've ever seen before. Eldrin looks horrified at the rat and begins to run down the corridor. At the owl, and runs horrified down the corridor.
Okay. Hello, friend.
The owl speaks into your ear and says, "Would you kindly come back upstairs?" in Celine's voice.
I'm terrified now.
She did say she had a familiar.
This is true.
Yeah.
Brent, I think that Celine might be a powerful illusionist.
Coming, Celine, and I walk upstairs.
We should go immediately.
As you arrive, the door is open, and Eldrin is rather viciously tied to the wall with various orange cords. And she leans over and says, "I understand we might have a problem of a slightly different nature."
Yes, your rat is attacking people.
Different nature is a bit of an understatement.
Don't remember Humphrey being oversized or purple. I'm sorry to intrude, but I sent my owl here to keep an eye on Eldrin as he came out the house, and, well, just as she was arriving in the corridor, well, I couldn't help but overhear your problems. Perhaps if I could contract you for something quite different. If you can subdue Humphrey, I may be able to assist with your magical issues.
Do you believe you might be able to reverse?
Darling, he's a minor illusionist. He is no true mage.
It seems like they were dabbling in something a little bit powerful, though, and something that they...
Yes, a scroll that they took off of my desk. I didn't realize at the time, but as soon as I heard the clone spell, it's my scroll. And I had purchased it from Maldranic, and I had a very different plan in mind for it. Not cloning poor Humphrey. It is not meant to be used on the living. It is for objects. But clearly they've bumbled and fumbled and messed up, and what they've really done is cast a spell of shrinking and a spell of engorgement, and they have traded the sizes of these two, and provided we can locate Rydian and he hasn't been eaten by Humphrey, I should be able to assist with the magical side, but unfortunately, as you see, and she gestures towards herself, I'm not the most physically fit of ladies, and could do with a little protection getting in the room, if you would be so kind.
We can help with that.
Yeah.
You better be quick about it.
There's plenty of us, and there's only one rat. I'm pretty sure we'd be able to manage.
She turns to Eldred in a voice you've never heard from her before, says, "Where is Rydian?" And you can see him sort of sizzling is coming from the cords around him. And he just says very quietly, "In my room." She heads out the door and sort of gestures you to come on and leads you down towards Eldred's room.
There's a spell on his door. Thought you should know.
She rolls her eyes and places her hand on the handle and opens the door as if there was nothing present. And there on the desk, in what appears to be a very small cat's basket, is a tiny version of Rydian the nobleman. And she speaks to him very gently, and she goes, "Hello, dear idiot. I don't have anything prepared to restore you to your normal size today, but I just wanted to have a look at the magic effects on you. You seem quite content in this basket here. You'll be staying here." And she sort of presses him down into the cat basket, where he sinks into the fur and appears to be stuck in place. "Come on then, children." And she sort of gestures for you to lead the way.
Somebody should draw a painting.
So as you leave Aldrin's room and begin to head down the corridor, we're actually going to take a short break there. I know it's a little early, but unfortunately I must quickly do something. So we'll take 10 and we will return and then continue with the rest of the episode. We resume with Celine leading you, or you leading Celine more specifically, down to the abandoned house in Drathnor Keep's keep, or main town. As you pass, she is sort of... she appears to be sort of waving a stick at you from behind in a very eccentric fashion and going, "Well, do come on, children, do come on, children." She's resumed her more normal mannerisms and is currently sort of poking her stick into the corners of corridors and gesturing about, and she raps a young serving child over the knuckles with her stick as he forgets to avert his eyes. And as you progress out of the keep and into the main town, the hustle and bustle of the main town is about you. It is sort of 11 a.m. There are carts passing by. There are important and non-important visitors coming to and fro. The common people are walking about. She stops a young boy on the way and she says, "Come here, servant." He sort of looks up very, very shyly at her and goes, "Can I help you, ma'am?" She says, "Tell me your name." "It's Jack. Jack. And she says, "Okay, very well. I need you to deliver a message for me. Go to Maldranic," and you can see the boy sort of visibly shudder and walk back, sort of step backwards. "Go to Maldranic and tell him that we may have an issue down at the abandoned house, and tell him the note's from Vivian." And, the boy looks slightly confused, but scurries offwards. And Celine gestures to the group of you to get a move on. Goes, come on! Onwards, move on!"
Coming.
As you progress through the town, you you can see there is a couple of people at work outside the Regal Squire Inn, sort of doing what appears to be some building work on the roof. And Mikhail himself, the innkeeper, is outside barking commands up at them. Celine rolls her eyes and you progress on to the abandoned house. You come upon the abandoned house, and it is known as the abandoned house, but it is not in any particular state of disarray. It is more that it is known to be slightly haunted. And for this reason, the wooden ramshackle door is slightly off its hinges, and in front of that are some bars. And she takes a key from her pocket and she hands it to Alari, and she says, I got this from Eldrin, if you would kindly do the honors.
Yes, of course.
As you unlock the gates and pull them away, you can hear some very strange noises in the background. There is twitching, there is squeaking, there is squawking, but it's all at a depth that you're not used to. These are relatively normal rat sounds, but very deep.
Is there any sort of other entrance that you can see?
All of the windows and doors of the abandoned house are boarded up. Quite thoroughly.
Okay.
I would take the time to, as we step in, to just zone out every other sound and try to pinpoint exactly where, if this is Humphrey, most likely Humphrey, is currently residing.
Make a nature check for me, please.
That's a 9.
Also make a perception check for me, please.
Is it okay if I cast guidance on him
Yes,
while he does this?
yes, that's absolutely fine.
Well, I'm gonna put a hand on your back and give you a thumbs up. The 1d4 to whatever you roll.
$13.
It would seem that you can hear more than one animal inside.
Thank you for that guidance, because I definitely needed it. I hear more than one inside there.
More than one rat?
I'm not too sure. I just hear multiple sounds. Maybe more than just Humphrey.
Could be more of the beggars that they said were disappearing.
Could be. So
These were definitely animal sounds.
okay. So he's not enjoying a snack.
Well, no one said that, and we merely said that they were not humans. At this
Maybe
point,
this is where the
as
rat
you
fighting happens.
As you open the first door, you enter what is sort of a hallway entranceway, and there is a door that has been sort of manually barred by sort of 2 rakes and a shovel being placed in a sort of triangular fashion. It's very dark, but Celine brings an orb of pure light to hover in front of you so that you can see quite clearly. And then she steps as far back as she can from the door, and she says, "Well, here goes, children."
I'm going to attempt to quietly pull one of the pieces away from the door.
Okay, make a dexterity check for me, please.
That's 21.
Okay, you are able to not only remove the first one very quietly, and the second one leaving the door barred by only the one rake across, as opposed to the previous propping system. It is fair to say you would be able to lift the final one off at your leisure.
Good work.
I have a plan here. I'm just going to go for it. I cast an illusion spell in the ground, just on the ground, just in front of the doorway, and I would like to create an illusion which looks very much like a very, very oversized rat.
Celine shakes her head at your interesting choice, but she suddenly you hear noises coming from your illusory rat that very much replicate a standard rat's noises, but slightly deeper. She is clearly embellishing upon your magic.
this might distract the rat long enough for us to do something.
Are you going to open that door or what? She says.
Step forward, open the door, and walk right in.
Okay, as you open the door and walk in, you see a very large lavender rat currently batting around 3 small cats on the floor. He is clearly taking advantage of his size to reverse the course of nature, and is sort of toying with his food, as these cats would be. The gigantic purple Humphrey has the deepest of red eyes, and Celine gasps, "Oh, my poor Humphrey! Can you gently, maybe just calm him a little bit, or I think he might need to be, settled down more forcefully. If you would roll initiative for me, please."
Okay.
Ooh.
But before we begin initiative, I'd like to look at Celine. Perhaps the sight of his mother would calm him.
The rat appears completely unfazed by Celine's appearance. Yes. If you would initiative, please. We begin with Lucius.
That would be a 10.
Yep. And Maverick.
Also a 10.
Yep. And Leovold.
That would be 22.
You what? Sorry, who? All right.
Yes.
Is that a crit? Is that a nat 20? Yes?
Yeah.
You have advantage on your first action. Sorry, I need to move my screen slightly. Kenna?
13.
Yep. Rook? Rook?
15.
15? Yep. And finally, Brother Laurie.
12.
Okay. We begin with Leovold. You have advantage on your first action.
How big is this rat at this point?
4'6" in height from the ground.
So fairly large.
Yes, it may be 7 or 8 foot in length. The tail itself is probably 3 or 4 foot and resembles a boa constrictor. And it is bright purple with deep red eyes. Yes, it is large.
Okay. Am I able to hold my action until the rat has decided what it's going to do?
This is classed as a surprise round. The rat is most definitely involved in its cats. You can pass up your entire surprise round, or you can act.
So, what is the rat doing right at this
Playing with the
moment?
3 cats in front of it that are tiny. Yeah, very distracted by his playing with these 3 cats. He's approximately 12 foot in front of you.
Okay. Well, this
sorry.
hurts me to actually have to do.
Mm-hmm.
I certainly don't want to hurt this rat too much, but I feel like this is going to be the only thing that we're going to be able to do to bring this thing down with any real effectiveness. I shall mind sliver the rat.
Oh, brutal. Is that a roll to hit?
Disorienting spike of psychic energy into the mind of one creature within range must make an int saving throw or take 1d6 psychic damage and subtract 1d4 from the next saving throw it makes.
Fair to
before the end
say
of
I
its turn.
failed the int saving throw.
Very much, yeah.
So if you would roll for damage with advantage, please.
That's a 6.
I'm really sorry, but number 6 has disappeared. Just give me a second. Oh, what have I done? For some reason, our counter for number 6 has just vanished off the screen. So I'm just adding it in right now. So just to confirm with you guys, you're in order. So Lucius 1, Maverick 2, Leovold 3, Rogue 4, Kenna 5, Alarm 6. Okay. That is your numbers. So Leovold, you are number 3. You are staying where you are currently. Yes? And casting your mind
behind our illusory rat, well, away from the doorway. I can still see the thing, but
Yep, and the damage?
that would be a straight up 6.
Okay. The rat sort of shudders and looks about the room a bit confused.
It has a 1d4 from its next saving throw it
Gotcha.
makes
Thank you very
before
much.
into next turn.
Does that conclude your turn?
That will conclude my turn. I will hold where I am.
Yep, okay, we will move on to Rook.
I'm gonna walk right up and hit it with my battle axe.
You're going to hit it with a battle axe? My. Celine
Yes.
appears highly unimpressed, but if you would roll for hit, please.
21.
Sorry, was it a 21?
21.
That hits. Damage, please.
8.
Sorry, man, I'm really struggling to hear you clearly.
8.
Okay. As your axe descends into his side, Celine shrieks in the background, and Humphrey appears slightly unbothered. That leads us to Kenna.
I just kind of lift up my hands and have some fire in it, and I just kind of launch it at his back end.
Okay.
Scuff up his face.
Is that a firebolt? Flame bolt, sorry.
It is produce flame.
Oh, okay. Yep, so there's no sort of roll to hit or anything. That is just as is, yes?
It is a roll to hit.
Oh, sorry. Okay, yep. If you would, please.
There's 12 to hit.
That hits.
Hey.
Is there a damage roll for that, or is that more a case of he's now got a fire on his tail?
4 damage.
Thank you. He appears slightly unfazed, although a little disturbed by the flames. At this point, he sort of bats the cats away, and sort of turns to face the party a little more directly. At this moment, Celine is going to, sort of she rolls her hands in a roiling motion, and a green light emits forth from her to the rat, but no real effect seems to happen, and she... Damn it, she says, well, never mind. And that will bring us to Alari.
Alari is going to point at Rook and Leovold, and he's going to tell them to, hey, watch out for each other. And I'm going to activate my emboldening bond on Rook and Leovold. So long as you guys are within 30 feet of each other, once per turn, either of you can use a D4 and add it to any attack, ability, or saving throw you make that turn.
And that was
Wonderful.
Rook and Leovold, is that correct? Yes? Sorry.
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. And does that conclude your turn, Alari?
I'm gonna just... yeah, I think I'm good where I am.
Okay. That brings us to Maverick.
Okay, keep it up.
Okay, I'm gonna step a bit closer to the rat. And then
Melee range or just closer?
just closer for now.
Okay, yep.
And I'm gonna cast Mage Armor on myself.
Okay. That brings us to Lucius.
Right, so I'm going to take off my jacket, fold it up, and put it in the corner. Then I'm going to tighten my gloves and dash forward toward the rat.
Yep. Directly into melee range.
Precisely.
Yep.
And then I'm going to that wouldn't technically be flanking, correct?
Yeah, I think it's fair to say you're flanking at this moment.
Perfect. I'm going to punch it.
By all means, do. Roll to hit, please. At advantage.
That is a 21.
Was that a nat crit?
No.
Okay. Cool.
Dirty.
Okay. Yep. So that hits.
That is 12 bludgeoning damage. And I'm going to use my bonus action to punch it again.
Okay. As you thunder your fist into the underside of its chin, roll to hit again, please.
That is 19.
That also hits.
$11 points of bludgeoning damage.
Oh my
His
god.
chin goes one way and then rocks the other. And Humphrey appears fairly hurt, and Celine, oh my. At this moment, the rat turns to the side and swings its tail. It's all 3 foot of it. At Lucius and Rook, and probably it's going to hit Maverick as well at this point. If all 3 of you would make a dexterity saving throw for me, please.
I got 19.
That would be a 20.
Rook? 15. Rook, you are tripped and fall to the ground, prone. All 3 of you take 4 bludgeoning damage.
Jesus.
Cool.
And that brings us to Leovold.
Right. So what? Clarify for me again the linking spell you placed upon us.
You gain a 1d4, I believe.
Yeah, it's a 1d4 to any attack, ability score, a saving throw, or I think an ability check as well. Just use it once per turn, though.
Okay, so the rat is still under the effects of Mind Sliver.
Mm-hmm.
So it has to subtract 1d4 from its next saving throw.
Yep.
And I gain 1d4 on my next my next check. I would like to charge up to the rat, as I'm still within the 30 of Rook, yes?
Yeah, very much so.
Very much, right, okay. And I'm going to try to get sort of somewhat sort of on top of behind the rat in a way, and I want to grapple it and try to get behind its neck, grab one arm underneath its chin, around its sort of underneath its jaw, neck, chin sort of area, just grapple it there, and other arm above his head, and try to just jam him down.
Make an athletics check for me, please. Oh, I am sorry. With a -4, I have got a 21.
Wow. 6.
My bad.
With the bonus.
I rolled a nat 20.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's fair to say you have been shuddered to the floor next to him, but you regain your feet with ease. And that concludes your turn, does it?
Yeah, that's my action.
Sorry.
That didn't work very well.
Rook, this leads us to you.
I'm gonna stand up, and hearing Celine's cries from my first attack, I'm going to follow suit and try to grapple and pull down the rat.
Okay, if you'd make an athletics check for me, please. Oh, there you go. That's more like it.
Uh, 12.
Oof. I think it's fair to say. How tall are you?
I'm like 6'4". I'm gonna add a D4 onto that though.
Okay, thank you. That really solves my problem because you rolled equally to the rat, so I'm kind of deciding what's happening here when you both got the same. Yeah. It was a Mexican standoff of neck vs arm. But as you bear the rat downwards to the ground, it now is sort of held down. It is swishing its tail left and right in crazy fashion, and you are holding it in place. Consider it now prone.
I'm gonna yell up, quick! Someone grab some rope.
Kenna, it's your turn.
I pull out some rope and I rush over and I attempt to loop around to kind of immobilize its movements.
Kenna, what's your movement speed?
30.
Okay, fantastic. Can you make a sleight of hand check for me, please?
23.
My goodness. Okay, you've tied elaborate bows around each of its feet, tied its tail to its nose to its tail, its hip to its hip. It is effectively a very well-wrapped Christmas present right now of rope. As you, yes, you've excellently tied it up. At this point, Celine calls out, "Stop! No more!" And she says, "Just stand back, please." She sort of launches into casting, and as she begins to cast, you see your ropes begin to struggle. The rat in front of you gets slightly larger, and slightly larger, and slightly larger, and begins to grow and grow. It is now luminescently purple. It is beginning to take up the size of the whole room.
Celine, you're going the wrong way.
At At this moment, the Grand Mage himself, Maldranik, appears at the door and goes, "Celine, stop! You have the wrong scroll!" And she looks back and she goes, "What do you mean?" He said, "You're using that clone scroll, aren't you? And you're trying to reverse it." And she says, "Why, yes, I mean, it's what you sold me." And he said, "I've made a terrible mistake. I do apologize. Please, if you would." And he begins to chant in a very strange language, and the rat is decreasing again in size. As the rat is decreasing in size, the purple glow is soothing downwards and becoming slightly more normal in brown. And eventually, after a minute or two, a very small but rather handsome rat crawls forth from the ropes and runs straight to Celine and scurries up her leg, and she takes him in her hands, his lavender eyes glowing, and strokes him ever so gently. Maldranik turns to you all and says, "Unfortunately, this is a problem of my doing. I really do apologize, and that is not something I do often. But it is only when I realized that when I was trying to increase the size of the Myconid family that we have at the back of the castle that we are currently using for their magical prospects, and instead began duplicating them, that I realized that perhaps I had sold Celine the wrong scroll. I do apologize for any trouble you may have witnessed. Unfortunately, I was a bit late. I'm sorry, Celine, I went first to the boy. You will find Ridian at a normal size. I do like the embellishment you used on the whole person charm. It was quite exciting to be able to counter charm, but he is now restored to his bedroom. I understand you have Eldrin in your keeping?" And Celine sort of nods and says, "If you don't mind, I'll be taking the boy in for some more severe tutelage, if you would. As to you all," and he gestures towards the party, says, "Very brave. Perhaps I haven't paid as much attention to you all as I should have. When I saw you were cavorting with Leovold, I wondered if perhaps you were all a tad erratic, but it seems that perhaps the calming effects of young Lucius here have helped you all. A reward for your hard work." And he gives you a bag, which is clearly filled with gold, and then he holds out a small, strange gem, and he says, "Perhaps one of you may make use of this. I know that perhaps it is hard to call Drathnor Keep your home, but should you ever be in need, please, all of you, join hands and clench this gem, and it will crush, and you will be restored to the keep, return to the keep from any travels you may be lost upon. I will supply you this item later. It is a homebrew, it's Gem of Returning. And consider each of you with 25 extra gold."
As he said that about Leovold, I would like to just put my hand on Leovold's shoulder, just to show that, yes, camaraderie.
Yeah, it's okay.
He looks deeply.
There's a lot I should say to people about this. There's some
He looks
stories
deeply
in
at
history.
Leovold, and he says, "I understand that a troubled mind is not one easy to learn magic with, but power is within your grasp, child, if you can maintain focus."
And
Maldranik.
your assistance with being able to do that at some time would be very much appreciated, if that is...
Perhaps, a busy man I am, but perhaps you might ask Celine.
I know you are very busy.
Celine is little.
Believe me,
more
I would like
accomplished
to
than you
learn
may
to control
think.
this.
Yes,
I would very much
understand.
like to learn to be more stable with this. I don't want any more accidents to happen again. That'd be
Celine turns to you and she says, "Child,
terrible.
perhaps managing the emotions inside is more important than the magic. A little of both, perhaps. If you wish a lesson or two, feel free to come and see me in your spare time." And she is, again, the reserved Celine that perhaps you were not used to in general and don't see around the keep.
Thank you very much, Celine.
No, thank you, children. And she
That's incredibly noble of you. Thank you.
withdraws a small bracelet from her many bracelets on her arm, and she says, as you may know, I don't carry much in the way of gold, but should you ever wish to sell this, you will find it fetches a fair price. It is what appears to be a golden bracelet studded with sapphires and rubies throughout. An expensive piece of jewelry, and she says, "Returning Humphrey to me is something one cannot pay for, but now that I know it's a problem of my own making, I should have looked over that scroll more carefully, but unfortunately, I didn't really plan on using it anytime soon, and what I was going to use it on is now, well, fairly irrelevant. But thank you, children. Thank you again. And she sort of nods at you all in turn, and with Maldranik...
I'm just glad nobody really got badly hurt in all of this.
Well,
No,
this
no.
happened.
I would like to. I would like
Yes,
to look
yes.
around for any remains of the beggars.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That'd
would
be
like to
probably
talk to
interesting there.
Maldronic, because
Maldranik strode away quite imperiously immediately. He's not one to chat, but Celine is still within range if you wish, Ken.
we heard the beggars were injured, right? But they were...
Yes,
they're not in
they may
here?
have been bitten, but they're not. You see no beggars present.
Okay.
The likes of the beggars are probably beneath both Celine and Maldranik's care. Neither of them being particularly respectful of the lower peoples, if you like.
I'm going to walk over, pick up my coat, flip it over my shoulders, and return to the group. Well, who's hungry?
We haven't long since had breakfast.
It's been 3 hours, maybe 4.
That's still a little too much food too soon for my liking. I'd rather leave it an hour or 3 if that's okay.
That's no problem. We still have other places to check out if you want to. If you haven't had enough excitement for the day.
After what Celine just said to me, I'm very much in the mood to go and do more good things. I'm actually rather happy at the minute. So let's continue. Let's keep the good times going. Yeah.
That's good. I just give him a little punch in the shoulder, and then look to Lady Celine, give a deep bow.
As Celine heads off out of the home, leaving you all sort of stood around with the remains of a couple of cats at your feet, but other than that, no real trouble in the house.
It's grisly.
Yeah, it's not good. Well, at least that problem was solved.
So I guess Celine was gonna try and clone Humphrey.
That seems somehow equally concerning, but
I think she most specifically said earlier that she would not ever want to clone Humphrey, and that it was designed for use on inanimate objects.
Yeah, I distinctly remember that. Yeah,
I believe.
I don't trust her.
Yes, I believe it was Elgin who was trying to clone Humphrey.
Yes.
very much Eldrin. I don't even think it's fair for us to speculate on what that scroll was going to be used for. It could be anything, and quite frankly, I think that's a little bit private.
Yeah, currently that's above us. We do have a few things on the docket. We could go to the Dancing Dryad or the Regal Squire Inn. What do you fancy? Flesh or drink?
It's been at least 2 hours since I've last had a drink. Can we please go to the Dancing Dryad?
You want to drink at the whorehouse as opposed to drinking at the pub. I love it.
That works, I guess.
Is that what you drink?
Drinking.
Fantastic.
It's that kind of a whorehouse, huh? That's an interesting place. Sounds exciting and exotic.
Yes, precisely. Brother Laurie, I didn't think you were taking sins of the flesh.
It's extremely, extremely not the case that we take a vow of celibacy. Although it was fun to laugh at the travelers back home that would assume as much.
Okay. I'll be sure to keep that in mind.
Although I feel like maybe time to ask, some of you got a little bit injured by that tail on that rat. Are you all feeling okay?
It's just a scratch.
Aside from
Jinx.
this one stabbing me at breakfast, I feel fine.
Do you
I already
need
apologized.
to take a moment to rest before we continue, or?
I think
I'd
I
like
can manage.
Just a heads up, guys. Maverick's nearly dead. He'd quite like a rest.
Oh, goodness, Maverick.
This seems pretty
Is
safe
that
in
your
here.
intestines?
Yeah, I'm like limping and bleeding on the floor. Excuse me.
Did that rat break a few ribs?
I mean, I got some removed anyways, but yeah, broke some.
As the party sits to rest, sorry, rolling a dice. Leovold, you sit on what appears to be a very sharpened piece of floor and take 3 piercing damage.
Oh my god.
What the hell?
Perhaps this is not the most stable ground to be taking a rest in. A room at the inn might be more recommended.
Precisely.
Okay. Let's do it at the inn. I don't want another spike up my bum. Thank you very much.
Do you need help
Fill
pulling
with
it
her
out?
wounds with some release with a glass.
It's okay. I don't have anything stuck in me right now, but I'm bleeding a little. It's not pleasant. Let's
Okay.
not talk about my bleeding bum.
To the end then.
As you progress down the street, you feel like you've gained some real spirit and camaraderie as a group. If you would ding for me, please. You have leveled up, and we will do so at the end of the session. You also feel the invigorating vibes of having been so successful. If you would take a short rest that you would have it's a momentary short rest, a sort of aura of peace and relaxation comes across you. Am I correct in thinking during a short rest you can use your hit dice to restore HP?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Maverick, it may be recommended. I believe this is under other actions, is that correct? Or is it just limited use? I don't know.
It should be up at the top where you can just
on the
click
sheet,
short
yes.
rest.
Yeah.
Where do you see that?
Up at the top, where it says campaign Drathnor Keep.
Got you. Yeah. Okay, yep. So if you'd like to all take a short rest, and yes, if you can level up within the time given, then go for it. If not, you can do it at the end. I think it unlikely you are going to need to fight anyone anytime soon. And as you progress down the street, the sense of sort of cooking meat and brewing ale are upon you. To your left, you see the Dancing Dryad, one of the most renowned establishments for pleasures of the flesh for quite a long way. They are known for being able to acquire almost anything that may be your desires. The lady there, Lorelei, is an elf who has been the owner for a long time. And to your right, you see the Regal Squire Inn, where Mikhail is no longer barking orders at the people climbing upon the building, but instead appears to be inside. The doors are open for business, but outside you still see 2 what appear to be carpenters doing some work on the roof. Sorry, I know every one of you is looking at your character sheet right now. Yeah, in fact, you know what? We'll take 2. Level up, and I'll give you a minute to focus on that. So you stand with the Dusty Dryad. Poor Dryad. She's just got dusty. The Dancing Dryad to your left, and the Regal Squire Inn to your right. The Regal Squire Inn is a lesser, and not quite as refined establishment as perhaps the Dusty Minstrel close to town, hence the Dusty Dancing problem. But is, it's the townspeople's pub, if you would like. The Dancing Dryad, as I've said, is quite extravagant and well-to-do, ran by Lorelei. But run in town, not near the keep, and that is worth noting. What would you like to do?
I believe you said there were carpenters on the roof of the Regal Squire, yes?
2.
I'll just call up. Good afternoon. Morning? Afternoon? Not too sure. I have to get hit by rats.
It's about 12 o'clock, so a bit of both.
Is Mikhail in?
He is. You'll find him in there. He's finally got off our asses and got back to his own work.
Mikhail is in, everybody.
Well, we're here. Maybe we should go find him.
Okay. I guess we're going to head into the Regal Squire.
As you enter the tavern, the bustle is beginning. You see certain workers are grabbing their luncheon, early luncheon. The barmaid is scurrying around, Rosie, helping out here, there, and everywhere. The gameskeeper is setting up the games in the corner, Fuldor, who you would know. And Mikhail is behind the bar, looking as chirpy and cheerful and gregarious as ever, and sort of polishing glasses and serving a couple of customers here and there. And as you enter, he goes, Lucius! And raises his hand in greeting, and he says, Oh, and you've brought friends, all of you. Come in. Do come in. Can I get you a drink?
Oh, sure, I'll take my usual.
I unfortunately do not know what your usual is, Lucius.
Whatever is on tap.
Okay, fantastic. So he hands you a tankard of ale. You would be able to get ale, mead, red wine, perhaps a sparkling wine if you asked very nicely. A few different drafts of the beer, but your standard tavern beer would be 6 coppers.
No problem. I'll definitely... Well, for him, I'll hand him a gold.
Oh my. Quite the generous one. Are you paying for all of... for the whole party's drinks, Lucius?
Yes, sure. We've had a good victory today. Why not?
Oh, wonderful. Good to ask. I actually had some work for you myself.
Yeah.
But before we get to business, drinks must be served. Food must be found. What can I get for you all? And he looks over at Kenna and he says, For you, young lady.
Ale.
An ale. Here you are. For you, sir. And he looks at Rook, sorry.
Nothing while I'm out on business.
Water, perhaps?
That'll do.
A large... he puts a large jug of water, and Rosie comes over and starts placing glasses before you. Well, I say glasses, these are more of the metal ilk. Cups, if you like, for you to pour water into, should you wish. He looks over at Brother Alari and says, anything for you?
Red or sparkling is also fine. Just something to pair with the mead my friend got us all.
Okay. He passes out you a glass of red wine, and he turns to Leovold. Anything for you?
I'll have something mild, please, if you have anything. Once again, thank you, Lucius.
We don't do mild here, unless you're speaking of juice, sir.
Okay.
An ale then. An ale then.
Or an ale.
An ale then.
Okay.
And he slams a tankard in front of you that's foaming over the top, and then he sort of he seems to have passed by Maverick as he carries on, sort of talking. He says, "And to business, and to business."
Wait, hold, hang on.
Oh, I apologise, sir. Oh, and then he sort of looks over to you and he goes, "Oh, I obviously missed you. What can I get you?"
Nothing for me, thanks.
Do you have some cheese platter?
Yes, we could get you out some cheese. In fact, why not? Rosie, one of the luncheon platters, please. For six.
Perfect.
And that will involve cheese and various cooked meats and a little bit of bread. And he says, well, before you head over to your table, a couple of pieces of work have come up. The first, very simple. Sal promised me her shipment of her shipment of fish today, but she hasn't brought it round. If you could possibly pester her for it, or perhaps collect the cart. It's only 5 silver pieces, but you know, all in a day's work, I guess. However, there is something a little bit more troubling, perhaps. You see, I had a guest here last night. His name was Halvor. He was an elf, and he stayed in a room, and he came down in the middle of the night and complained of strange voices and strange noises. And, well, I thought that was a little unusual, and I gave him a different room, and his complaints ceased. However, as you may have seen, I've had to get 2 carpenters in. The roof of his room, his original room, was appeared to be sort of blown through by some form of force. I called for one of Maldranic's court wizards to come down and visit, and they said it was more for the temple to investigate. And then I called a priestess down, and she said that we do indeed seem to have a ghost on the premises. However, this ghost doesn't seem to want to be dispelled by them, and instead wishes conversation. Now, I don't quite know what you're meant to do with that, but if you fancy going up and having a chat with the lass, She's an elven lass, the ghost she. She did give me her name, but unfortunately it had so many syllables I've completely forgotten it. So maybe perhaps you should ask her herself. To say she wanted to talk was an understatement. She didn't want to shut up. So if you fancy a long conversation with a ghost and perhaps convince her to stop putting her magiciness through my ceiling, 100 gold pieces is in it for you. And a free room should you wish for the night for all of you.
Spending lunch with a ghost? Making conversation? I've certainly thought of worse ways to spend time.
You see, there is the catch. Unfortunately, you can't speak to her during the daytime. She doesn't appear to be present. You will need to come back and return in the evening, hence the free lodging. You would need to return in the evening to perhaps chat with our young moon maiden.
Okay.
That come with free dinner.
Well,
You drive a hard bargain.
I'll definitely provide a meal. However, perhaps I will knock 1 gold off of the 100 and call it around 99. Should be easy to split between the 6 of you anyway.
Can I perhaps check out the room?
Of course you can. Of course you can. Rosie, would you kindly show these young gents and ladies up to the room that we had to empty last night? She she looks very pale and she says, "Can I show you just to the door?"
Sure, that'll be fine for me.
Okay, Rosie is a young girl, perhaps a little flirtatious normally, but very shy. And she sort of gestures towards you all, and she leads you up the stairs. She's walking very, very quickly. She clearly is not particularly keen on this, showing you around. So as she takes you up the stairs, you see 2 doors to your left and a long corridor to your right, and she leads you down the corridor to what is the final room. And she sort of hands you a key. She hands this key to Kenna and says, "If you'd let yourself in, I'll be downstairs. I'm sure you can find your way back."
Okay, well. Would you do the honors, Kenna?
Seems right spooked.
Yep, I just unlock the door and push it open.
As you look into the room, it appears to have once been a very grand chamber. There is a large double bed in the centre with the covers sort of twisted up into the very edge. There is a fine cabinet that where all the drawers are hanging out and rickety. There is one hole still in the ceiling and what appears to be a recently patched area slightly further down. There is a fine hat stand that lies across the floor. A couple of the boards in the room seem bent out of shape. It looks effectively like a hurricane hit it.
As I walk in the room, I want to just take a look and investigate the room, knock on some of the walls and the flooring to see if any hollow bits or anything.
Make an investigation check, please. While we're at this, Cleric Alari, if you please, would you make an Arcana check?
That's an 18.
I can do that.
An 18? You would find, obviously the drawers themselves are hollow. The bed frame appears to have a relatively hollow base. It is down to the floor. There is no area under the bed, but it appears that is a contraption of, you could remove the pieces of wood from either side and underneath would be a gap. Your Arcana check, please.
10.
10. It's fair to say you sense that a presence has been here, but is currently not present.
Could I remove it? Just move the bed a little slightly so I can get into the inside of the compartment?
Make a strength check for me, please.
This is an 8.
No. It's not the only way I can respond to that. No, you can't. Perhaps some assistance might be required.
Lucius.
Yes.
Lucius. You need a hand.
Please, I'm a bit more the accuracy type.
We could do with at least 1 or 2 other people.
More along my line.
Let's
I think
let's take corners.
Rook, was that you? Who spoke up? Rook, was that you that spoke up?
I believe this is. Yes, I believe this is more along my course of actions to do.
By all means.
Perhaps
I'll look up then.
I would consider at this point Lucius still assisting. Rook, if you would make a strength check for me, please.
God, first one was in that one.
Okay. Even so, I think it's
20.
Yep, that is far more like it.
20.
So as you pull the first time, nothing happens, but as you pull a little bit harder, the board suddenly rips away, and you can see under the bed there are a couple of copper shards on the floor, and what appears to be a strange necklace directly under the bed.
Take a closer look and pick them up.
You should be careful touching them with your hand, Rook.
But he'll manage. As he grabs it, nothing happens specifically, but it is a long pearl necklace, and yes, that is sort of all.
Do I notice anything particular about it, or that's
make an
that's
Arcana
just what
check,
it is?
please. Probably not your proficiency, but give it a go.
It's an 11.
You would be aware that something is thrumming within it, an energy of some sort, but as to what that energy is, you wouldn't have a clue.
There seems to be something within this necklace. Does someone else want to take a look at it?
Do you mind if I take a little look?
I will pass it over.
Leopold, make an Arcana check, please.
On top of that as well, would I be able to sort of tell if the necklace is in any sort of style? Is it like a human necklace, elven sort of craft?
Make a history check for me.
That's an 18 on the Arcana.
Yeah, make a history check for me, please.
Use a 14.
You would be able to know that this necklace is not in any recent style of elf or female. Elf or human. Is instead quite old and quite archaic. As for the magic, all you are aware of is that it is not a sorcerer's magic of any sort. It is not wizardly nor sorceress, and is instead perhaps divine in nature.
Okay, so what I can tell from this necklace, it's old. Very old.
Oh, good. Glad you got that far.
Yeah. It is very old, and there's something that is not a type of a magic I am familiar at all with.
It's definitely divine magic, it is fair to say.
Brother Alari, would you be more familiar with this sort of thing?
Don't mind if I do.
Are you handing him the necklace?
Yeah, I'll hand him.
As you take the necklace, Alari, you hear a voice softly in your head saying, Who disturbs?
Oh, is this thing on?
You can hear quite clearly a very melodic voice coming to your ears. Who disturbs me?
Just a simple cupbearer, a couple of friends.
A priest?
In a quaint... Oh, yes, some might call me that.
Why?
Do we hear her?
No, only Alari hears it. So very, very long since anybody spoke to me.
You wouldn't happen to be the young lady that's been haunting this place recently?
Haunting, I wish. If I had that power left in me, then I would definitely be most interested. Nay, I died a long time ago, but left my presence in a necklace from my husband. Unfortunately, I have been separated from him for such a long, long time. Perhaps you might know of my husband. He was named Maldranik. Do you know this name?
You say?
Yes, he was a wizard of sorts. Not particularly successful at his craft, but a hard worker.
I've heard of him before, yes. He's actually pretty big deal these days.
He is? He lives still? How could this be? It has
I
been
had
so
always
many
assumed him to
centuries
be
since we were together.
powerful magician. They seem to last a little longer. I'm sorry. Do I look crazy to everyone right now? There's someone talking to me in my head.
Yes.
I apologize. She speaks into your mind and she says, if you would take the necklace and undo it, perhaps the people who you are standing near may be able to hear.
It's just a moment. I will follow her directions.
As the necklace is opened, a small face appears. If you imagine you are holding the necklace sort of at a V, the face appears in the gap of the necklace. A very ancient-looking lady, her face appears, and she appears quite beautiful, but quite old. Perhaps that is better. I understand you were speaking to your friends when you asked if you appeared crazy. Alas, this Maldranik, he is still a magician, you say? A wizard?
Maldranik?
How do you know Maldronic?
He was my lover for many, many years.
This definitely has to be the same Maldranik. There's not another Maldranik that we know of the same name.
No,
surely.
an unfortunate, an unusual name, especially as amongst humans, an elvish name, I believe. But he always went by Maldranik, and his ears were perfectly not pointy as far as I could tell.
How long ago were you lovers?
Well, you would have to tell me the year today, darling. It's 2183 DR. So, if you repeated that to her, she would say, approximately 1100 years?
Wow.
That's most of them.
Isn't?
Wow.
Hang
Did
on.
you have any children?
We did.
Yeah.
One young lady. We named her Rose. And she was the most beautiful of girls, but at the age of 6, we lost her.
I'm sorry to hear that.
It's dreadful.
It is what truly drove Maldranik and I apart. As I stayed here, well, assuming I'm still here at Drathnor Keep. Is that correct?
Yes, you're still in Drathnor Keep.
As I remained here, he explored, from what I'm aware, but a necklace I gave him to be able to communicate with me across the distances, and he abandoned it the very first night that I gave it to him, and I never heard from him again.
I'm so sorry to hear that. How dare he?
Heartbreaking.
Well, he always did walk his own way in life.
Would you like us to bring this necklace to him now?
Oh, well, if he's still alive by some miracle, then yes, I think that would be quite wonderful.
Are you trapped in the necklace?
Trapped, my darling. I am but a memory. But a memory that is a little more sentient, if you like. This is only what was left of... I left a small part of me, if you will, inside, but the rest of me has passed on, darling.
Sentient, you said. Do you remember doing that? And I'm going to point up to the hole in the ceiling.
I cannot have any sort of effect on the world like that anymore.
Oh, I think we might be dealing with at least 2 ghosts here.
Perhaps.
Unless... Well, that is very much a possibility, but...
Did
What
you
if the
hear
thing
any
that caused-
noises in this room last night?
Unfortunately, if nobody is touching the necklace, I experience nothing. I'm
What
really
if the hole
sorry.
in the roofing...
You appear to be attempting to find information on something of which I am completely unaware, but I do wish I could be of assistance, but it has been, as I said, well, you 2183, you said. It has been some 300 years since I was in contact with anyone.
That long? Wow. Wow.
Oh,
Well, we've got some time. Do you guys want to maybe go speak to Meltravis now?
yes.
Meldranic.
Possibly.
we could do so, yeah.
Can I, Brother Larry, can I touch the necklace for a second, please?
Free.
I'm going to take the necklace and go ahead and close it and put it on the floor. She said Maldranic 1,100 years ago. 11,000?
1100.
1,100 years ago. He's a human. How is it so hard?
Well,
Wizards are remarkably good at not dying.
we assumed he's human.
Okay.
I suspect that's probably now, as we know, not the case. I don't think I've ever heard of any human wizard being able to live for arbitrarily ridiculous lengths of time. This is
Most
this
strange.
is something of significance.
Precisely. If it quacks like a duck, I guess.
A very apt turn of phrase, I guess. Yeah. He's definitely not what we believed.
Yeah,
Yes.
precisely. Well, and here I thought it was going to be a simple quest. I guess we have two things to deal with.
Well, as far as the hole in the roof goes, I have a theory.
Please, by all means.
What if this hole in the roof was not the work of some ghost, but was the reaction of the person that was staying in the room? And I somehow don't think a ghost would be able to cause that, based on what we've seen with this fragment of a memory.
Perhaps.
I think it's fair that if the man had reported, when the man reported that there was trouble in the room, that when Mikhail went to take him from his room to another room, he would have noticed if there was a hole in the ceiling. He specifically said that the hole in the ceiling occurred after. Yes, after the man had been moved.
Well, that correction on the timeline completely
Thank you,
changes
voice
my
in my head. That
assessment.
does
Okay.
change everything.
Yeah, I just
There
thought
is- there
I'd
is-
reinforce.
There's rumors of ghosts. However, there's a necklace right there that could have caused those rumors from past years, and something else could be causing the trouble now.
Yeah. I can.
It does feel like
certainly
we
see
don't
that.
quite have enough information.
There's a lot that we can unpack from this, yeah.
Perhaps we say the night. A regular old mystery.
We still have a lot left of the day. Shall we
I didn't mean
detour from
now.
this and come back later?
I mean, we could go see Maldranic with this.
Grab our lunch and enjoy our drinks and finish up our
Possibly,
finish up here
but
for the afternoon.
I would certainly love to see the face of Maldranic when we show him the face of his jilted lover.
I mean,
We hope we keep our faces afterwards. But yeah,
that's my worry. That
That's
is
quite-
my worry. What his reaction is going to be. If we do decide to do this, we're definitely going to need to be tactful about this. This is potentially quite a sensitive issue.
I agree. A voice in my head. Would I realize that if I touched this necklace, would it always be able to talk to me?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to draw out my long sword and scoop up the necklace and slide it into a side pouch on my haversack.
Okay.
real
Unless
quick,
anybody
did
want to
we,
talk to her.
we break anything when we moved the bed earlier?
Yes, you the piece of wood blocking it, you snapped quite handily.
I'm just going to real quick stoop down and cast mending on that.
Okay, would you make a perception check, please?
Sure thing.
And the plot thickens.
Come on, you can do it. What are we getting?
Here we go. Oh, Jesus Christ.
I believe.
It was a 7, not a 1. 13.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's fair to say as you go to stoop to repair this, on the piece of wood itself, you see a small, what looks to be a pouch, maybe a bag, maybe a jewelry.
What's there?
It is fairly obvious that it is designed for holding some form of jewelry.
I'm just gonna take that too.
Okay, as you touch it, it feels very strange to the touch. It is almost scaly.
Guys, take a look at this.
What do you have there?
It's a bag that I found near the plank that we broke. It feels a little.
As you demonstrate it to the party, it shimmers in gold and silver and bronze and various metallic shades.
Iridescent, apparently.
Alari and Lucius, would you make a history check? Yeah, I think no, make a nature check for me, please. Not quite sure how we class this. Is it nature or history or a bit of both?
I rolled a 12.
Mm-hmm.
That's a net 20.
Ah, okay. You immediately acknowledge that this is made of dragon's scales.
Holy shit.
It would be extortionate.
Holy shit! What's the holy?
This is made of dragon scales. Those are already expensive, and this is a lot of those.
Oh my goodness! A dragon scale pouch. Here.
That's
Mysteriously close to the only living memory of our wonderful Maldronic's young tryst. Yeah, it seems really suspicious.
Well, we
Is there
can ask
anything
her about
inside
it.
I think we could, yeah. Would that be sensible?
Well, I guess we bring it back.
I reach into the bag and open up the necklace the same way it was before.
You hear a voice. Sorry, you open it up. Yep. Her voice emits, and she says, "Well, you rudely interrupted me. Well, thanks for bringing me back. What can I do for
I
you?"
interrupted you.
Oh, yes, that would be understandable. I sense you have questions.
Yeah, do you know what's with this dragon-scaled pouch that was near your necklace?
Now that would explain a lot. I don't know exactly any information about it, however, I can tell you that if you were to place this necklace inside said pouch, I would have no sense of anything around me and time would not pass for me. Perhaps that is how 1100 years have passed so swiftly. For it was very well known in my time that if you surround something in the scales of a dragon, its magic will be suppressed.
Oh.
Just a
That's
handy word of advice if you have any form of extra dimensional pouch or bag, please do not place said dragon scale pouch inside said bag. You may witness a tear in the material plane.
That's incredibly fascinating and specific.
In my time, if you were rich enough to be able to acquire one of these pouches, you could keep quite the most dangerous of objects inside it.
Okay, that's...
Maldronic was fascinated with dragons.
I'm going to go ahead and whisper to both, well, to try and whisper to mostly everybody, but most to Leovold and whoever's next to him. Do you think Maldronic did that on purpose? Think he did this?
I would not be able to tell the intentions of that man. I could not possibly say. It isn't the most outlandish thing, but he is something very mysterious about him. Yeah.
I'm going to turn to the memory. I'm sorry, and I'm sorry to the voice in my head. I didn't get your name.
No, You did not.
What is it?
Magic is, gone downhill in your days, hasn't it? No true name can I give you, for the power you would hold over me would be complete, it is fair to say, but
Oh.
you may call me Lana, for now. Would you be so foolish as to give me yours?
Not
Certainly.
anymore.
No, certainly. I'll definitely give you my name. My name is Red.
And he's blue, she's green, and he's black. Fantastic. Glad we've got the notice. Okay, well, I shall call you Red, and you shall call me Lana, and perhaps you may, not be so quick to, reveal your name in future. I hope my advice may hold you in good stead amongst those of Wizardly Wheel. But
Definitely not.
it is a pleasure to communicate with the outside world right now. And
This
we
might be...
will
Oh.
end there. Okay. So we will
Boy.
leave you taking what is a long rest and a repast in the tavern as you discuss what goes on. I mean, a long rest shouldn't really be 4 hours in a tavern, but you're going to sit and have a large lunch and some drink and enjoy yourself. So we shall take a long rest in the tavern, and we shall end there. Which brings me to a couple of traditions. First of all, thank you very much for playing. I hope you all had a good laugh and found things interesting. And secondly, we have a tradition of doing the MVP. Now, some of you who have played before with me will know this, and some of you will not. So it comes to each of you to designate what you believe was the most valuable thing. It is not the person necessarily, it is usually an inanimate object, but it could be an action or something unusual that happened, or perhaps a player if they did something particularly interesting or different. Jamal is the person who introduced this rule to me, so I will come first to Leovold or Jamal. Who was your MVP for today?
I'm gonna have to go with Celine stuffing the very short guy in the basket.
Good, I'm glad you enjoyed that. Maverick or Josh?
Probably the mystery of the beggars disappearing that no one seems to really care about in the keep.
Very good.
Nobles caring about beggars.
Lucius or Kira?
I believe I love Kenna's quick knot work on the rat.
Yeah, that was a good roll. I like that. Rook or Matt?
I'm gonna put my vote on Humphrey himself.
Humphrey the rat. I like it. Elora or Kenna?
I would say Humphrey's on fleek hair.
Yes.
And Cow or Alari?
I'm gonna just go with the concept of rat fighting.
Okay, well, my award goes to my two psychic players. My MVPs for the day, both Jamal and Lucius, stumbling upon things that were either meant to be deeply... Well, you sort of predicted what was coming with the rats not being the rats, and that Celine was more than Celine, and the number of dogs, and a few other moments where you just sort of seem to click on it, and the ghostly thing, and then Lucius magically looking under the bed while we've just told you that the ghost is not going to appear till evening, bringing plot hooks from far down the line, far forward, which is why we've had to end where we have. So, yeah, it's been a total pleasure today. Thanks so much, guys, for being here, for taking part. Thank you to those of you who've watched. I really appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.
Next time.
Good night.